Hello everyone, Lisa Arana here, and thank you so much for joining me for today's spooky Assemble This video. Today we're going to be making a trio of some creepy cool cards and using a stencil with ink blending. I'm so excited to get started, so let's assemble this Halloween trio of cards. I have already stamped my images from the Eerie Enchantment stamp set from Unity Stamp Company with these creepy cool eerie little guys. They are stamped on regular cardstock using VersaFine black ink, and I have all of them just kind of spaced out because I will be fussy cutting them later. I'm gonna watercolor using my favorite medium, the Distress inks. They coordinate with my ink blends, so I have all my inks out that I'll be using for the backgrounds and for watercoloring. And I just squish them onto a mat of some sort, pick them up with a water brush, and then fill in my image. I'm not big on spending a lot of time coloring, so I'm doing a light layer of the color first, and then if I want to deepen anything up, I'll come back later and add maybe some splotches to kind of create a little more interest to the image after that first layer dries. Since this is cardstock, I don't like to use a lot of water or ink because the paper will start to bend and peel and get really weak. So this is just really simple coloring, one layer, and then maybe I'll come back and do another little touch up here and there to deepen certain areas with the same color. I'm only going to color this first guy. I think he's a Grim. We're going to call him a Grim. I don't really know. He's pretty dapper, this this handsome, creepy guy. Because the coloring process is the same for the witch, the scarecrow, and then all our little icons down here. The cute little cat, bat, and pumpkin. Again, I'm just using all the colors that we'll talk about later when we do our ink blending splotches. And then I do have hickory smoke and black soot for deepening up any type of shadow or to add a little bit more of a grungy look to each of these images. And you can color these with your favorite medium, colored pencils, Copic markers, whatever your little heart desires. I am just using the same colors as my ink blend to make watercoloring and coordinating super easy. And here's a look at all of them at the end, all colored up in their spooky little outfits. And I'm just going to grab my scissors and fussy cut each of these out. They are fairly simple shapes, so it doesn't take too much time to cut these by hand. I have 3 card bases prepped and ready to go, so I'm doing this directly down onto my card front. I grabbed the abstract splotch stencil from Unity Stamp Company, and I'm just picking out my favorite shapes to fit each of the little characters here. And starting out with my first spooky Halloween ink blend, I'm starting with Villainous Potion at the top, and then I'll come in with a little bit of Twisted Citron at the bottom. And then I like to add some shadow all the way around with a bit of black soot. And these colors are going to complement the colors that I used in the witch's dress. I'm also using a very smooth cardstock. This is Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. A smooth cardstock is really going to help you out with a smooth ink blend in the end. And you'll just want to do really light layer after layer. That'll build up that color for you. Before I remove that stencil, I'm just splattering it with some watered down white paint to create a cool little effect in that background. For our second background, I'm using Mustard Seed, Evergreen Bough, Uncharted Mariner, and then that black soot again to create a nice shadow all the way around that splotch. And I use the same blending brush per color family. So if I'm going to be using that over with a different color, I'll just rub that off onto a baby wipe and then pick up my next color. It's also a great way to prevent transfer of inks between your ink pads, even though I don't really think about that too much. For some reason, it just doesn't transfer unless I'm doing like that dark blue onto the yellow. I would definitely be really careful about not contaminating my ink pads, which is why I did the yellow first and then went to the green and did the blue and black last. Added my white splatters, and I really love this cool effect. It's like a spooky night sky with a moon. And for our last card front, I am using peacock feathers and Twisted Citron with that black soot again. And I'm just layering up that ink. You'll see light layers and I just keep layering it on. It'll smooth itself out the longer it sits, but I do like to do layer after layer so I don't get these big splotches from my blending brush. And then I'm just going lightly just around the edge so I don't get too much of that black into my splotch, but I do like the way it deepens up the edges of the splotch, kind of helping that eerie night scene that we're trying to create. And then at the end, I add just one more layer of the colors to help smooth that black out. Added my splatters, and that finished off the background for card number 3. And next I'm going to die cut each of the sentiments in this kit. I'm using the scalloped and stitched sentiment dies to perfectly trim down that banner right around the sentiment. I run it through my die cut machine once and then I line up the edge of that die right on the edge. I only go through my machine until it catches, and then that'll trim down the perfect sized banner for each of these sentiments and the cards. So let's just assemble everything up now. I have my grim little guy and I put him over the galaxy background with the bat right over that moon. And then I'm going to add just a few pearl drops here and there to kind of finish off this card, add a little shine and a little bit more movement and texture to each of the designs. Next up is the witch and her cute little kitty. And then last, we have the scarecrow and his pumpkin. And here is the final look at the trio of these spooky, cute little cards. I love the way that background kind of ties into the colors that I used for each of the images, the spooky ink blends, and then the little bit of whimsy from the pearl drops are a perfect touch to finish everything off. As always, I will have all the supplies linked in the description of this video and at my blog, Dahlhouse Designs. If you have any questions or sweet comment, post below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to like and subscribe to catch all my video tutorials, and I hope to see you again soon for another video. Bye!